Are you familiar with the Aesop fable, The Hare and the Tortoise? If not, then allow me to share. A hare was making fun of the tortoise one day for being so slow. "Do you ever get anywhere?" he asked with a mocking laugh. "Yes," replied the tortoise, "and I get there sooner than you think. I'll run you a race and prove it." The hare was much amused at the idea of running a race with the tortoise, but for the fun of the thing, he agreed. So the fox, who had consented to act as judge, marked the distance and started the runners off. The hare was soon far out of sight, and to make the tortoise feel very deeply how ridiculous it was for him to try a race with a hare, he lay down beside the course to take a nap until the tortoise should catch up. The tortoise, meanwhile, kept going slowly but steadily, and after a time passed the place where the hare was sleeping. But the hare slept on very peacefully, and when at last he did wake up, the tortoise was near the goal. The hare now ran his swiftest, but he could not overtake the tortoise in time. Hi, I'm Alicia Butler-Pierre. Sustainable scale doesn't happen overnight. You're about to find out why it pays to think and act for the long term in business. Operating fast and impulsively might yield short-term gains, but slow and steady wins the race. This is Season 13, Episode 165. Let's start the show.
Welcome to Business Infrastructure, the podcast about curing back office blues of fast-growing businesses. If you're a business owner or operator looking for practical tips and solutions to scaling your business in a sustainable manner, you're in the right place. Now here's your hostess, Alicia Butler-Pierre.
Having a tough time trying to explain ideas over a video conference? Try the ThinkSmart whiteboard. It's the fastest whiteboard software in the world and allows you to upload flowcharts and write on them while your colleagues are watching remotely. Call us today for a free demo. The number is 1-866-584-6804. Or visit us online at getmytablet.com. Now that's smart. Think smart. We're well into Season 13, where the focus is on operational excellence. Joining me today, truly out of the goodness and kindness of his heart, in beautiful but scorching Bellevue, Washington, is Tim Leslie. He's currently the co-founder of Loving Root, as well as a board advisor to companies ranging from startups to Fortune 100. He's also a former 20-year Amazon executive. In fact, Tim's going to share with us how he built and managed Amazon's international legal team and how he led the launch and expansion of Amazon Prime Video in over 200 countries. Tim, first of all, thank you so much for being here, because I know the Northwest in the United States is currently experiencing a record heat wave. I know you don't have air, I think no central air and air conditioning, right? So you're dealing with a window unit right now. So I really do appreciate you taking time to speak with me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Alicia. And yes, thank you for having me. It's really good to be here and to talk to you about what I might be able to share with you and your listeners about what I learned at Amazon and how it changed the way I see the world.
Wow. I can't wait. I really can't. So aside from being hot, how are you today?
I'm good. I did not get a great night's sleep in the 110-degree heat. Seattle's broken 2 records 2 days in a row. So if we don't think the planet is changing, we only have to look at the thermometer to see it is. And that's actually part of what I'm passionately working on and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And we can talk about a bit later how people can affect the world through their small, medium-sized businesses and help the community and the people in it. But no, it's really good to be here. The air conditioner is off, but a little sauna as we do this never hurt anyone.
Release those toxins. That's a good way of looking at it.
Exactly.
Okay. And before we get into discussing your very impressive tenure at Amazon, I was wondering if we could first talk about what actually led you there. You are an attorney. I noticed you got your JD from Yale University. Wow. Did you work at a law firm, Tim, before you became an associate general counsel at Amazon in 2009?
I did. And I don't talk about having been a lawyer much. I feel as though I obviously chose to be a lawyer and had a very nice career doing that. I decided to go to Yale Law School, though, because I didn't know what else to do with my life. I was an econ undergrad at a small liberal arts college. That was probably the luckiest decision I ever made, to go to Beloit College, where I went to play Division III basketball. Had no idea what a small liberal arts college learning environment would be like. And it taught me how to think, how to communicate. And I thought, okay, I can get a PhD in economics. I can go to business school. I matriculated at University of Chicago Business School for a summer. I thought it was not super interesting at the time. And I had taken a class in undergrad on sociology and the law. And it was an amazing teacher who made me think about law's pervasiveness in how we run society and how we think of morality. And I thought, I can go to law school and I can do anything. Well, as it turns out, I would not go to law school in hindsight, and it all turned out fine if you don't know what else to do. If you go to law school, even though I had the good fortune to go to Yale, which really teaches you what the law should be, not what the law is, I would think about maybe getting out and working for a bit and then deciding what you're going to do for grad school. But I went to Yale, and as it turns out, when you go to law school, you're trained to be a lawyer. So yes, I went on to be a corporate lawyer. I did all kinds of corporate legal work, M&A, corporate finance, real estate development, and then went in-house. And Amazon was my second in-house job. And I joined in 1999 as the fifth in-house lawyer to really do everything but kind of the front-end technology support. So I joined before Jeff Wilke, who is a renowned executive at Amazon, who really built the Amazon Logistics Network, when his predecessor, Jimmy Wright, who came from Walmart, was there. And my job was to provide all the legal support to build out Amazon's fulfillment network and the launch of every international website. So I got to provide initially by myself and eventually building a team of 200 people to support globally the launch and operation of nearly every international website, and got to sit on Jeff Wilke's retail and operations leadership team, along with 𝗕𝗂𝘂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, who ran international. And all that said, I now view myself as a recovered lawyer. I've been through the 12-step program, and I'm now on the 12-step, giving back to the legal community and helping people who, can become disillusioned with being a lawyer. It's a tough profession. It's tough to find your way, but I did find my way, and I'm happy to talk more about that. And you can always find me on LinkedIn if you're a struggling lawyer trying to figure out what to do next. So that's the legal story that brought me to eventually the good fortune at Amazon. Is they view people as who show they express Amazon's values and can think like an Amazonian as capable of doing anything. So Amazon really leans into potential, especially in early days. So I was given the opportunity to switch from being a lawyer at Amazon to being a business person and running operations.
Okay, I was wondering how that happened. But really quickly, how many employees did Amazon have when you first started? Do you remember?
It was under 1,000 in 1999.
Wow.
So there was a really, just prior to my leaving, I presented on Prime Video at the All Hands, and they did this menage of all the pictures of the people who had been at Amazon for 20 years and were still there. And it's super powerful to be at a company from early days like that to, when I joined Amazon, it was, about 600 million in revenue, and it had a net loss of just under 100 million. And when I left, that was in 1999. When I left in 2019, it was nearly 300 billion in revenue, 500x what it was when I joined, and a profit of about 11.5 billion. So a lot changed in my time at Amazon. And I think what made it so powerful and meaningful to be there and look back on those 20 years is the fundamental principles on which Amazon was built, which, as I've stepped away from it for a couple of years now, I do think operational excellence, which I know you spend a lot of time on, Alicia, is actually kind of the backbone of that. It's not really talked about, but the principles of Amazon are lasting and enduring. And I think that's what really makes a great visionary company, and probably a great visionary anything person. Even they have lasting vision, mission, principles, values that endure over time, even as circumstances change. And that's definitely true with what Jeff and Amazon have built.
So, but your first job at Amazon, you were working as an attorney, right? And then eventually you moved or transitioned to the business side of things. How did that happen?
Yeah, so that's I spent my first 13 years at Amazon building the international legal team. So I worked internationally from the get-go. Again, working on the launch of every international website and every product and service launch globally. Most of that was organic growth, but we did acquire companies in the UK, Germany, and China to get started. And then in 2013, I was working in Luxembourg, had moved there to run international. That's Amazon's European headquarters. And Amazon was looking for somebody to become the managing director of a company they had just acquired called LoveFilm. LoveFilm was a UK company that was the Netflix of the UK, a DVD by mail, if people can even remember those days that Netflix started this. A DVD by mail company, and actually a great DVD by mail company, already clearly becoming a threat to Blockbuster, that you could order 3 DVDs, they're delivered right to your door, you stick them back in the mailbox. LoveFilm was the same sort of company in the UK and had over 1 million customers. And Amazon also was in that DVD by mail, putting its toe in that space. And then we owned 20% of LoveFilm and then bought the whole thing. And as Amazon often does with acquisitions, it did this with Zappos and Whole Foods and others. It often brings in an existing Amazonian who, such as myself, who then goes and runs the company and integrates the company into Amazon and teaches it its principles, et cetera. So I had that opportunity at LoveFilm, and it was great. It was a great team. I worked with original LoveFilm people who really knew the entertainment space. And my job was to help it in its transition from physical to digital. Netflix had just launched its digital offering then in the UK that year, and rebrand LoveFilm Prime Video, merge it into Amazon, and launch it across Europe. It was actually a perfect job for a former lawyer in that I knew everything about Amazon's values and culture, and had the opportunity, because I do have a passion for learning, I had the opportunity to dive into the trenches with the LoveFilm team and learn everything there was to learn about entertainment and marketing of content. So it was a good marriage. And we then rebranded LoveFilm and launched Prime Video in the UK, Germany, and Austria. I then went back to Seattle and we launched Prime Video in Japan ahead of Netflix. And then we built the plan. Jeff said, I want to launch Prime Video globally, and I then led responsibility for that. But I will say the transition from lawyer to business person, making that decision was probably the hardest decision of my life, and also the best decision of my life.
I know. It was just starting to get good, right? Well, there's more where that came from. To listen to the full interview, be sure to click the link in the description box below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell so that you'll know when our next episode drops. Until then, keep operating smoothly.
Join us next week for another episode of Business Infrastructure with 𝗕𝗂𝘂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀